Thank you very much, Jan. Look, firstly, let me start by congratulating Holger and your team, Holger, for this fantastic initiative and putting together today's program and bringing such wonderful people together today to discuss this issue. As Jan has said, so my College of Sciences and Engineering comprises 5 academic units. TIA is, of course, the shining star. I have to say that in this forum. So TIA is one of those 5 academic units. You'll be hearing something about the other 4 in the next session. So we have the Institute for Marine and Antarctic Studies, IMAS. We have the School of Natural Sciences, which includes all of the fundamental sciences, chemistry, physics, maths, earth sciences, biology and so on. We have the School of Technology, Environments and Design, which includes architecture, ICT and geography and spatial sciences. And the last one is the Australian Maritime College, which includes all of our engineering programs, amongst other things. So they're my 5 academic units, and I won't say much about those today. TIA, as we've heard from Holger at the beginning, has 3 main planks, if you like, of this initiative: the agricultural technology aspect, the sustainability aspect, and the food science aspect. And I really want to emphasise that a lot of this research around these areas is done here in Launceston and, of course, in the Northwest Coast and in Burnie. So that as part of our discussion today, we really need to think about how part of these initiatives are certainly playing into very strongly the economy in the north and northwest of Tasmania. I want to think about a couple of things that Holger said about this initiative. In terms of trying to set the scene perhaps for some of the framework and the key things that are coming out of this, rather than talk specifics about the research in my little talk. Something that Holger said at the beginning really captured my attention. It's that little tag, the second or the last word of this initiative, which is a society. So whatever we're doing here in this initiative, we're thinking about for the benefit of the people. What is it about these initiatives, the research, the things that we've already heard about today that are benefiting the people? And I think our last speaker, Fred, did a fantastic job of sort of pushing us a little bit in that direction and thinking about the things that are going on in that space. So, as I said, other people will talk about some of the examples of research in my college. But I just want to pick one example as a way of thinking about how this framework will help us. And I don't want to steal Nathan's thunder, but just want to talk about forestry and timber-based products. So this is an example which demonstrates how the university's commitment to the community, to industry, to the Tasmanian government can really be articulated through this, and indeed how it fits into this initiative. And by articulating this also demonstrates, it reflects and reinforces society's commitment to sustainability and brings in that idea of the social licence that Holger mentioned in his opening address. So our new Vice-Chancellor, Rufus Black, at the University of Tasmania, has said that we have made a commitment to incorporate Tasmanian wood products in the construction of our new university buildings in Burnie, Launceston and Hobart as deeply as possible within the current budget and timelines. He has put together a working group, a working party, to really look at how we use Tasmanian timber in the construction of our buildings. We have, depending on what day of the week it is and who you talk to, maybe $300 million worth of buildings going ahead. And as part of that, we really want to look very, very much at how the Tasmanian timber products can be used and indeed timber products in general in that process. So that's one part, I think, of this initiative that we have here today, is how do we think about all of these things but reflecting and benefiting the Tasmanian economy as we go forward. The other bit that I think is very valuable about this initiative for me is that it's really collecting together a lot of things that we already do, but giving us a focus to that work. In many ways, it gives us permission to think about the success and reputation that I have in my own little world, and how that links into the collaborative endeavour that we're thinking about here in terms of benefiting the economy and society. I think it was Mueller who talked about collaboration, wasn't it? So that's that picture there too, that we have that collaboration. And collaboration, of course, it's only going to be as strong as those individual pieces that come together. So I think that's the second bit for me, is that this initiative provides that incentive, that sort of framework for bringing those pieces together, the strong pieces that exist in my college and in other colleges, bringing those together to actually make the initiative work. As I said, other people in my college are going to talk about research, and we've heard a lot about research, so I'm going to talk about something completely different and talk about education and training, which I can do as an executive dean because that is at least half of what my college is about. So we'll hear later on today, I think, from Al Gracie and Joanna Jones about some of the future teaching in agriculture, and Bridget in her address talked about the science for the future. So for me, that's a really important part, and I think, Jan, you said that in your introduction for me, that we need to think about how are we equipping our students of today with the STEM skills for that future, for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the track. And so that's a really important part, I think, of where this initiative sits, how it influences what we do in my college in terms of equipping our students. So we have some great examples already in TIA, around the agricultural degree. We've already heard about teaching about sustainability, water resources, food safety, food science, and those sorts of things. A key thing which I think maybe Holger mentioned, I can't remember now, was about the multidisciplinary aspects. So this initiative is going to be a key driver for us really bringing that to the table in our teaching, in our courses that we run, and really thinking about where the multidisciplinary fits in. But then if we look at some of the other courses which we run here in Launceston, for example, our ICT course here in Launceston, we can play into the agricultural technology area, the smart farming, the sensors, the data gathering, those sorts of things. We obviously teach, or perhaps not obviously, but we teach a strong aquaculture degree here in Launceston, which fits very nicely into this initiative. I mentioned the wood, so wood material science. We can think more creatively about how we teach that. Wood materials, of course, crosses over into our engineering program, our architecture and design program, I mentioned engineering, our various other programs where we actually look at the wood materials and so on. Environmental science is taught here in Launceston. It plays a big role in thinking about how we do the things we need to do, but in a sustainable way for the economy. I'm a chemist, and we just heard a few moments ago, we don't want to talk about biotechnology too much. Okay, that's fine. But some of the things that we teach in our chemistry degrees can, in fact, flow into the thinking about natural products, the ferment Tasmania, the extraction techniques, and so on. In terms of the biology that we teach, obviously bioresources are very important, but we can think more creatively too about the ecology and the biodiversity. The bioeconomy for society is underpinned in many ways by having a very biodiverse way that we think about and sustain the natural environment and so on, and that becomes really important going forward into the future. Now, I was really interested, someone mentioned wallabies and so on, so I was thinking about some of the other aspects that we have in our wonderful island that aren't perhaps the first thing we think about when we think about economical things. But in playing into that too are things like honey. So the bees and the honey are such an important part of our economy, and they, of course, are not something that we necessarily think about when we talk about forests and maintaining the environment and so on. And then we get into things like the scenic value and the tourism. So my people in geography and environmental sciences and spatial sciences deal a lot in that sort of area, thinking about that environmental policy, people like Jamie Kirkpatrick and others about how do we sort of manage those sorts of resources for the economy, for the good of society. And I think they're going to play out much more strongly as well. So what I've tried to give you there is just a really quick overview, a flavour of a whole lot of things that we do in my college in the teaching space. And I'm really excited by this framework, Holger, because I just think that this will reinvigorate and bring together a whole lot of people in terms of looking at those sorts of things. So again, I just want to congratulate Holger. Good luck with this initiative, and I'm sure it will go very well. Thank you very much.